Imagine you come into a new town in the middle of the night, a town you have never been to until then. You are confused, exhausted, and weary. And on top of that, there is a downpour of rain, like serious rain. That is chaos and wahala. But just as your confused mind begins to wander on all the negative possibilities, boom, a stranger offers you comfort in the form of an umbrella, for instance. Comfort, solitude, and gratitude in the shape of an umbrella. A basic object, really, or even as a person, a whole living person, can alter your perspective on what really matters in circumstances beyond your control. We all get to where we are because of the people around us. I got to where I am because people held umbrellas over me when I couldn't hold them myself. Joining me on this episode is a friend who knows every little thing about me, literally. I'm Kosti Okechukwu. Welcome to All the Little Things. My guest today was the very first person I met when I stepped onto campus. We were two strangers with a whole lot of uncertainty, with no idea that we were about to walk through the next few years as a team. From the 100 level confusion to the final year finish line, she didn't just witness my growth, she challenged it and cheered for it. As of today, she has been an incredible talent in the design world, carving out her own space currently in humanity with the same brilliance I saw in her on day one. I've titled this episode To What Do I Owe This? Because when I look back at the life I'm building in Abuja currently, I have to look back at the people who were there when I had nothing but potential. Please welcome my first university friend and greatest cheerleader, the visionary and baddest designer, Onyi.
Hello. That was an absolutely remarkable introduction.
Yes, one of the best for you.
Thank you very much. Okay, so my name is Onyi Edison. I'm like you mentioned, a product designer, right?
Yeah.
And I'm also a project manager. And what else? What else is there to know about me?
Name what this is
Okay, I'm a very good dancer in my head, but in reality, that's not the case. In reality, that's not the case. What else? Well, I think that summarizes what stories to know about me. I'm passionate mostly about contributing to causes that help me impact people, help me impact the world, just essentially making the life of the next person much more easier, or a tad bit easier than I met it. So that's it.
Hey, thank you so much, my amazing and brilliant friend, for that beautiful introduction. When I started this podcast, I was like, I need to have Onyi as one of my guests. There's no way I'm going to do this podcast and not have you as one of my guests. It's not possible.
I'm glad to be here finally.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much for tuning in. So we're going to have this podcast in segments, and first and foremost, I want us to talk about how we became friends. How did we meet? How did we become friends? How was our connection like from the very first day? Your own perspective, because I also have my own perspective. I'm very sure it will shock you when you hear it. So, but I want to hear what your own perspective. Yeah.
That if memory serves me correctly, I think we met first at the multipurpose hall that's popularly known as MPH in UNIZIK. Yeah. Yes, so I know that I had resumed year one, probably a couple of weeks before you did. And that day you were with your mom. So I think she was with you trying to navigate. Yeah, she was with you trying to navigate, find your faculty or your department or something like that. And then I don't know, but I guess I was probably the first botany student you met at that hall, and you guys talked to me, and I said, I'm in botany, and it's as though your mom just handed you over to me. I was like, okay, take my daughter and show her what to do, and and all that. So I think that's actually how we met, and that's how we became friends. Obviously we exchanged contacts that day, and every day or almost every day after that we sat together, or at least most of the time,
they go somewhere. We took lectures in school.
They sat together, keeping seats and all that. So I think you had asked a question about the first impression. I don't know that I can remember what my first impression of you was, but I do know that something I got to realize later. If I can, okay, now I'm putting them into words, but then I probably did not. I'd describe you as audacious, right? As daring and as bold. No. Let me say. Not that you were fighting anybody or lecture or anything. Not that kind of audacious. Right now, because there was something that happened one day. I hope it's you. I hope I'm not mistaking. I'm not mistaking what Oge did for what you did. But something happened. I don't know. You came to class one day. You are dressed up, and then you cut the front of your hair, the front parts to make bangs. Were you the one that did that?
Yeah, I think I was. I used to get a lot of bangs. Oh my gosh!
You cut the front of your hair like to make bangs. Then you had really long hair, but I think you still do. But your hair was really long, and I'm like, okay, this is very daring, because people are scared of losing the hair that they have. But you can decide.
I used to cut it. There was a way I would fold it, so it wasn't necessarily like I folded it, and I used a pin to like tuck it in.
But really, you were just daring. You were just, you had a way of showing up as yourself, as your authentic self. You'd dress the way you wanted to dress. You'd, just show up, with one style or the other, and it shows that you put in efforts, into your appearance, into the things that you did, right? So I think that's the impression. That's the impression. And then you used to laugh. And then one thing I also know, I think you still do that. You laugh like really, what's the word now? Heartily, like you put your whole soul into it.
I can't stop myself when I can't stop myself. Especially when it comes to this.
Yeah. I think that's a really good thing. And that was one of the things that Oye noticed first about you. We were friends first, then became friends with Oye.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, that's such a nice one. I do I've had so many people on this podcast, and I think that nobody has really put this into like extreme detail like this. Oh my gosh, I'm so flattered.
Okay, so how do you recollect we met?
Okay, I do recollect that we met at the multipurpose hall, like you said, at MPH. Well, something happened before that, right? Because I think a lot of people that I think the only people that know this are my family members, right? Call it a supernatural gift, call it whatever it is you want to call it. But I've always had like a very intuitive part of me, right? And so I remember now before I came to UNIZIK, right? I was like, I just had this dream and I was like, oh, I met this really nice person, right? And surprisingly, in this dream, the person's name was Onyi. And I was like, why? You know, Onyi is such a common Igbo name, right? It's such a very common name. I was like, maybe that's going to be the name of my friend or something in school, right? I don't know, but it always works out somehow like that. And so when I came to the university, and me and my mom were navigating, finding, my mom, the reason why I came with my mom was because my mom had actually schooled in Oka. She had schooled in the College of Education. Yeah, so she knew the town. So she was like, listen, you're the first child I have that is entering into the university. I am taking you there myself. So I went there and yeah, so she was like, oh, I'm going to take you there myself. I'm going to make sure that you're settled and everything. And so I think after we had done one or two things, we had gone to the bank, we had made one or two payments, and then we're like looking for where the common lectures were being held, right? So somebody directed us to the multipurpose hall. That was MPH. And as it will happen, I actually met several people in the outside. You know how MPH was that night? I had a very big veranda area, right? So I met so many people around that veranda area. And I was just like, oh, is this where they hold the general GS classes, general studies classes? And they said, oh, yes, this is where they hold them, right? And so in the process of doing that, we now met you, right? Mm-hmm. And then you said, oh, you happen to also be from the department that I was posted in. And I really feel my mom was like, oh, thank God, like you said, my job here is done. Let me just hand you over. But one vivid detail that I remember was, and I think that was what, to me, that was the first impression I had of you, and that was what distinguished you from a lot of other people I had before as friends. I was like, who is this person, right? Like, when me and my mom stepped away, I remember you just ran to us, right? When we're about to take keke. Do you know that there was a kiosk, right, in front of MPH where they used to sell like snacks and like moi moi and stuff like that? And you ran to us our asked and you said, oh, like, would you like to take some of the handouts I have copied, or the note I have copied? And I was like, who is this person? Like, you don't even know me, and you're offering. You're such a very small thing, but I think that moment it's stuck with me for a very, very long, even till now. It's still something that if I remember, I'm like, yes, I made the right call to make this person my friend. She's such an amazing person. She's that will go out of her way for, and even people that she doesn't know, it's such an amazing thing, right? And so that was what made me feel like, no, I need to stick around this person as a friend. She's so cool. She's so cool as a person. So yeah, that was
I don't even remember I did that. That's true to hear.
Sometimes I feel like the things that you do, the little things, right? Just like the name of my podcast is called All the Little Things. I think that the little things you do for people, you don't remember them, they remember it for you, right? That's how it is like. And I think that's what kind of builds up your character as a person, because you are just going through life, you don't even know what you're doing. Like, if you had not told me, oh, you are this audacious person, I'm just like, okay, I'm just living my life. I don't understand. I'm just being myself, right? But when you get to go through life with people that kind of notice these little things that you do, it makes life very unique for you. So thank you so much. I'm really, really grateful that I have you as a friend and a sister. Yes, I'm very, very happy.
Yeah, I feel the same way. It's been what? How many years? 20, 21.
I think it's 12 years. That's a long time. Oh God. Yeah. If we had kids then, they would have been almost teenagers right now. Jesus Christ. That's a long time. That's a long time. Thank you so much. I want to ask you, often I always feel like I owe you, right? For how you carried me through school. Honestly, I do, because when I look at, there are certain moments I look at it, whether it's financially, whether it's like psychologically, emotionally. I think you might not really remember these little things, right? But I do as a person, because I feel like there have been moments when I've just been at my lowest self, and I'm just like, oh, Onyi, let me reach out to her. And then you just say something and everything is okay. And I'm like, how did it get okay? I don't understand. What did she say? What did she say? So I like those, that's what I'm talking about, like in the sense that I feel like I owe you, as a person, right? I didn't know you before, but we became friends, and somehow I feel like that depth of gratitude is just there. Like I said, the word that we used to describe you is kind-hearted, right? And I feel like anytime I reach out, you're always there. Even if I text you in the middle of the night, Onyi will definitely reply me. She will look for a way to answer me. She will look for a way to, like, oh, if she can't come to the phone, she'll be like, oh, sorry, love, I can't come to the phone right now. I'll get back to you. And so I feel like I owe you that. But I want to ask you, how do you feel when the roles are reversed? Is it a gratitude thing, or is it like a burden or a bridge for you? How do you feel like when the roles are reversed?
So yes, okay. So yeah, when the roles are reversed, I think I do feel gratitude, right? It's we just recounted, or we just counted and saw that we've been
Oh,
friends
incredible
for 12
moment.
years.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
I would say that I also feel gratitude. We have looked back and counted roughly and seen that we've been friends since 2017.
Yeah. 2014, not 2017, actually. 2014.
And for us to be here now, it means that it's 2014 years.
Yeah.
So it means that both of us have contributed in our own different ways to sustain the friendship. And I remember very little things, right, that you did for me in school. One of them that really stands out was one day, you know how it's always a rush to get seats in class. So we're having a class in the biology lab. I think it was now 300 or 400 level when we had advanced, and we're now having lectures in the biology lab. And at first they don't open the door.
Yeah.
But then when they do, there's a rush and everyone is trying to get in at the same time. And most of the time, I really don't like doing that.
And then what's that?
Most of the time, I don't like doing that. One of those days, you rushed in with everybody else, and by the time I was coming in, I probably did not even know that there'll be a seat for me, but you had kept a seat for me, and that was really, really nice, right? Yeah. Oh, that was really nice. Just little gestures like that I may not even remember. And then to up until recently, coming all the way from Abuja to Lagos for my wedding, and all of those, it meant a lot to me.
Oh, you're counting that as a little thing. Come on. I was like, listen, if I have the last money in my account, I'm coming for this wedding. Because with that, how do I have to flex my muscles if I don't come there? Like,
this particular one is not a little thing. Maybe the keeping of the seats may have, looked like a little thing, but then they're big things to me, right? And so that's why I have them at the back of my mind. That's why I'm grateful for them. That's just it.
I'm grateful, and I'm happy that you're grateful. Thank you so much. So, but now I want to ask you, like, you recently married. Now that we're talking about love and marriage, maybe in your mind you thought about love and marriage. We'll talk. So you recently married classmates and the absolute love of your life. I know the spark when I see it. Obviously. So to what do you owe that connection? Because I know I'm this kind of person that I don't really like to, when it comes to my friends' private lives, I like to respect their boundaries unless they tell me, because I feel like that is the greatest love you can have for somebody, right?
Yeah.
You give them the space that is required to grow and assimilate things they are ready to tell you, right? So how, what do you owe that connection? How do you think that it changed you as a person? What do you owe the little things that he does for you, how he does them? Is that too much of a question to ask? Oh my God. Like,
no. I don't think it's too much of a question. Let's see. For my relationship with my husband, that feels weird to say, but yeah.
Say it, yeah. Capital letter.
That feels weird to say, but it's also one that yes, there've been challenges, but it's also a relationship I'm very grateful for with a friend, throughout school. And he's just somebody who I describe as somebody that has a good head. I call him my stand up guy. He's a reliable person, not just for me, for his friends, his family members. He's reliable.
Yeah, that's true.
You can take his word to the bank. At first when we started going out, and there were ways that he would express love to me, and I'll be like, it just feels like, God loves me, that kind of thing. Like, you love me like God. I think that in my mind, right, my head rather.
Yeah.
But we've come a long way, and he's still as thoughtful as ever. Prioritizes my comfort, and yeah, he's just being a very sweet person. Yeah, so I think that's it.
That's a good one. That's beautiful. Oh, I like hearing about love. You know me, I'm a romantic person, so I love to hear about love. It's a beautiful thing. But I want to ask as well, like, was it a big romantic gesture, or were there a series of little things that made you start talking or dating, around the time that you did? What was it about this person that you like? This person in particular, yes, I can see myself with this person in the next 30, 40, 50 years. What was it about?
Okay, I don't think I thought as far as 30, 40, 50 years.
Hey,
But I'm just kidding, right? But yeah, what was it? So it wasn't, obviously it wasn't like the grandest of gestures.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just the little things, right? We were friends for quite a while, and we were friends for quite a while. I think throughout school we were friends. We weren't dating then. So then we just took the time to perhaps we're just building the foundation, right? And then eventually after school, he came forward and said, I feel this way about you, and blah blah blah. And I'm like, okay, what are you saying? At first,
No, oh my God, he did?
yeah. When we graduated, at first I was like, okay, it was because for me, I don't know. People are like, I'm always I'm very oblivious when guys like me or whatever. But I didn't see that was gonna happen, even though my friends had said, oh, this person likes you, and I'm like, please, like, he should stay on his own.
Yeah.
So he came and said, I want to be with you, this, that.
That's cool. No way.
And we talked about it. At first, I hadn't given it a thought, so I just, decided to take time to think about it. And,
Yeah.
I maybe in my head, I made a pros and a con list, just highlighted the good qualities of this person. And, for me,
Yeah.
it's really not just about butterflies.
Definitely.
I mean, this as much as I wasn't thinking of getting married immediately we graduated from school, but this person had values that I felt aligned with mine. This person was, ambitious, right? They knew what they wanted to a large extent. So all of that quality, and there was potential to grow together. Like, so that was it for me.
Yeah. Which is always the best kind of barometer to view people with. But it's not really what they can offer. It's more of their character, their values align with the day. Yeah. That's a good one. We'll circle back to small gist on love. I want us to talk about your post-university life, right? Because obviously you met your husband in the university, so that was why I wanted us to form a base on how you guys met and love and everything. But now I want us to go to post-university life. Like, when you left the university, I know as a person, I can't say it openly, but I want you to discuss it. I want us to discuss it here, like how were you able to cope after graduation? Because, one thing I think people don't know is when they are in school and they study and then they come out, they don't understand the realities of life when they're outside of that. So how was it like for you, post-university life?
Well, I didn't have a soft landing, right?
Nobody. Except for that.
I'm not an Otedola or an Aliko.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not an Aliko, so there was no job waiting for me as soon as I graduated. But when I left school, I did get a job. I was working in telecoms. I was waiting for service.
Yeah.
Before I went for service, I was working in telecoms as a sales rep, right? I got to meet amazing people, and I think I worked there for almost a year.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then that was when I got to learn hard and ugly truths about life and the workplace, that the colleague of yours can literally die today and tomorrow you guys are back at work. Tomorrow you guys are back at work. Oh, nobody sends you, right?
Learn.
So after that, all the while, right, that was a job, right? All the while I knew that I wanted a career. I did not want to just do jobs outside here and make money and just have time pass. But then after working there for almost a year, service came up and I went for service, went to Adamawa for camp and then relocated to Ogun State.
Yeah.
I thought yeah.
Oh yes, it's true. It's true. You did go to Adamawa. Oh yes, I remember because you were talking about taking like direct flight from Lagos to Adamawa at the time. Yeah, that's true.
I didn't even fly to Adamawa actually. I went by road. It was like 2 days.
Yeah, but I understand. But I know that there was a time you were like contemplating, do I fly? Or I know you told me at some point.
Yeah, didn't I? Yeah. So okay, after I camp was actually I think the more fun part of my NYSC, honestly. Because I met a lot of amazing people there. Would always hang out, just laugh, and then proper NYSC. Perhaps because I had relocated, so I did not know a lot of people in Ogun State from camp.
Yeah.
Right, and then my own school where I was posted, I was the only core member there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes.
But I did my best. I gave it my best. Met other core members at CDS, and service was a blur. Right, just the year just went by, and it was like real life. Real life had started. Real life had started. Then after that, what was I even doing? I think I was home for a bit. Then COVID came because I finished service in 2019, right? And
we all. I think. Oh no! I did. I finished service in 2018. Sorry, 2019. That's the same year. It's true.
Yeah, 2019. Yeah, we went together. So it was in 2019, then I went back home, and afterwards, towards the end of the year, COVID came, and then I was, job hunting and job searching, and COVID came in 2020, and we were on lockdown for a few months. Then I got a remote job as a customer service rep.
Yeah.
And I started doing that, and got the opportunity to leave home. I'm still within Lagos though for work, and I move and
It's to counter you.
My parents did not like the idea, but I was discontent being at home, right?
Yeah.
I'd been at home for months and I just knew I didn't want to continue being there.
Yeah.
I knew that I wanted more out of life, right? So when the opportunity came, I grabbed it with both hands, and there was nothing my parents were saying that I was even paying attention to. Anything you say, I have my own counter. I have my own thoughts for you. So eventually, obviously, they gave in, and I went, and I moved out of the house. I was still in Lagos though. That was, and then I started, living on my own, and I wasn't paying rent, right? Thankfully, but then I was taking care of some other bills, right? Feeding and all that, and it was an eye opener for me, and I got more time when you're at home, you have to be a child in the house when you're at home. But on my own, I had more time on my hands.
Yeah, have to grow up.
And that was when I started learning design. I think I'd spoken to our friend, a mutual friend, Remy.
Remy, yeah.
And he was also a designer then, and she told me, okay, why not try this out? And then I did my research on it, and so okay, this looks cool. And eventually I took a number of boot camps and a number of courses, and I started designing, and eventually went on to get my first internship after I had left that job I was doing there.
The role you were yeah.
And moved on to get another design role, and that's just the way it's been. And there were in betweens as well. There were other in between jobs, right? Hustle,
Definitely, yeah.
the hustle as an adult. But I think that's just how it's been, and I'm here now.
Yeah, yeah. But I want to also ask you now that you talk about design, right? Because I think that when I look at you as like your evolution as my friend, right? One of the things that sticks out is the design aspect. I'm just like I'm in awe of you in that regard because I'm like she built this because I know how we struggled to be able to perfect or come to that level of like perfection in the design world. How has your success in that world or that career path been like? How have you been able to navigate it? Because it's hard, and I know it's hard because I have tried it myself. At your own guidance, I registered for it myself, which I will talk on later on. But I want to know how were you able to get to that peak as a designer, as a product designer? Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I don't know. I'd say that I don't even think I've gotten to the peak, right? I feel like I'm still somewhere in between, but it's taken a lot of hard work to go from a novice to, say, an intermediate designer, which I would call myself.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of intentionality about, reading, learning, unlearning, right? Just inserting myself in spaces that can challenge me and, help me grow.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really just been it. And honestly, I really don't think I've gotten to the peak. I feel like I would still I'm a work in progress, right? But
yeah,
it's really been an amazing journey. I look forward to what the future holds.
Yeah. But when you say you're not peak, and then I look at myself, I'm like, she's joking, right? Because then I look at what you designed, I'm like, I'm so far away. I'm so far away, But it's good. I like the humility of it, right? To know that,
it's not even humility, it's just the reality. Because I know that there are people who
I beg, don't tell me you're back. I will not accept that one. It's not
people. There are people who have much insane track records, people who I look up to, people who I aspire to get to their level. Like, I think there'll always be those kind of people. It's very, very important to always have people that you look up to.
Yeah, your role model.
Yeah, that's it. So that's why I feel like I've not gotten there, right? So that's what.
Okay. So, currently you're doing something else, which is something you've always loved. And like I talked about at the beginning, you've always had a very kind heart, right? And I'm not surprised that you've carried that kindness into, passions or converted them into like passions for yourself, right? Now you're working with, an NGO. I hope it's safe to say, yeah?
Yeah.
You're working with an entity that does something for the community or for the country at large. What does that feel like for you? Does it feel like you are accomplishing things more as a person? Does it feel like you're getting to the peak? Even though you're a designer, you're still able to put your hands into these things that have to do with humanity, that have to do with communal service. What does that feel like for you?
Okay, it feels good, at least on most days. I can see that together as a team we're doing good work. So I work with an NGO that strives to bring about accountability and transparency in the Nigerian democracy. Right? We use technology, we use entertainment, we use arts, different forms of artistic expressions to essentially educate the young Nigerians about the need for them to participate actively in democracy.
Yeah.
Right. We also track political promises, and I feel like when you've been in Nigeria, when you've been in Nigeria for as long as I've been, you're used to heartbreaks, a lot of heartbreaks from Nigerian politicians. Right? They make lofty promises that revolve around our socioeconomic needs. But eventually, when the people get elected into office, they do not fulfill these promises. So we track, the political promises when they get into office and inform our audience that this is what has been done, this is what has not been done, essentially to arm them with the knowledge to make informed choices during election cycles. So it's an opportunity to work, because I've always been someone that has been interested in politics even from when I was a little girl.
Yeah.
I think yes, I think that was inspired by my father, but that's a topic for another day. But then so when my friend approached me with the idea, okay, I'm co-founding this NGO and it's a civic tech organization and we want to do this and that, and are you interested? Like, definitely I'm in. And then we went for our first hackathon. We came with the first runner-ups, and that was in 2021. And up until now, we've been running the organization. I've gotten several funds. So we've gotten funding from some organizations that have allowed us to continue to do the work that we do. So it's really just been fulfilling.
Yeah.
It's really been fulfilling.
That's incredible work, right? That's really, really incredible. So how do you feel like when you get, because I know me and you discussed something privately recently about you trying to get some work done. How do you feel like when the things you've worked on for such a long time gets pushed and it's activated? How does that make you feel?
It brings fulfillment. I'm extremely happy when I'm working on something and eventually it materializes or becomes a success. It gives you fulfillment. That's what I love to see. That's just it.
Yeah. Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Thank you.
So I also want to dive into, when we came out from school, right? Post NYSC and everything. That is what I can never forget what one of our lecturers said in school, and he said there will come a time. I think the lecture. I don't know if it's Professor Okibu. I don't know if I'm correct, but that was on our final year dinner, and he said something. He said, you better enjoy this moment because this might probably be the last time you might see all of you in the same room together, right? And I think was the one that was he the one that said this? Am I mistaken? I think he was the one.
Yeah, I don't even remember, but if it was something that happened at our final year dinner, it's most likely him, because I can't imagine any other lecturer, coming for that.
Yeah. He was such a jovial person. He liked to interact with people. Yeah, but I want to say, like, because I didn't really take it seriously at the time when he said that, right? But I feel like, when you look at everybody's in different places. Some of our classmates are abroad at the moment. They're doing their masters, like Patience, that's our mutual friend, like Isaac, like so many people. Some people are into business, some people are into design, some people are, I have even gone to other courses, or other professions or other career paths. So, and eventually to other cities, like you're in Lagos currently, and I am in Abuja, right? Do you ever think that, our lives moved from the campus to big cities like Lagos and Abuja? And, how has our relationship had to grow to survive the distance? Do you ever think about that? Like okay, do I like, because I think, and I even talked about this with a friend, the person I'm talking about, right? With a friend, and I said, oh, me and this person had to grow apart. The person I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Because We had this conversation a few days ago. And I think when you look at it, it's because of the distance sometimes, right? You don't vibe anymore. You don't. It creates a kind of loophole where the bond is no longer strong. So how do you think that our relationship has grown, and survived the distance? How do you think that has been able to happen?
So yeah, I don't remember exactly. Like I said, I don't remember exactly who said that, but that person was right. That this is the last time you would see a number of your colleagues, because there are some of our classmates that I don't even know where they are. There are some that I talk to, right? There are some that I talk to, like there are some that I've never even heard that this person is in so place since we graduated.
And Ted, it's so crazy.
Yeah, right. It is.
Yeah.
But for those that I've been able to keep in touch with, because there are definitely those that, even though we may have been close because we're in a close proximity in school, we grew apart when we, eventually left school.
Yeah.
Right. But for those that I've kept in touch with, I won't even say I speak regularly to any of our classmates, like maybe on a daily basis, and like we used to in school. No.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think what I would say has kept us is probably a shared interest.
Yeah.
Right. Shared interest. When you have similar values, you have interests that are similar, you always find time to talk. You always find time to catch up.
That is true.
Right.
100%.
And then an understanding as well. An understanding of what adulting is.
Yes.
Right. An understanding of what adulting is. Adulting requires that there are highs and there are lows in adulting. People are looking for jobs. People are having business heartbreaks. People are like
mental breakdowns.
They're out in the real life. They're out in the real world. So you cannot be vexing that somebody hasn't called you
or texted you,
or that somebody hasn't reached out to you, or that they've not texted you the way you probably vex in school. No, that's not going to work.
Yeah.
And then there's also the fact that you extend grace to people. That's something I've actually, gotten to learn. As an adult, you extend grace to your friends.
100%.
Right? Because people are going through so much that they may not even be able to tell you about.
Yeah.
So when they show up in your life after a while, like just, flow, get along, or catch up. How has it been? How have you been? Show up for them in the way that you can.
Yeah.
Right. Like so that's it's very important for me, and having being an understanding of the fact that the world is not white and black. Like there are so many nuances, there's so many gray areas.
So much. Yeah.
So it's just very important to extend grace to your friends, and also to be interested, right, in catching up with them, finding out what's been going on with their lives. That's the way to build relationships. For those who I told you about, a classmate of ours who was recently in Lagos and came to mine, with his family. But that's just still, we talk once, not every day, not very often, but once in a while.
Yeah, that is true. Not every day.
Yeah, once in a while we talk.
I think that when you talk about it like this, it does boil down to understanding, because that is the maturity, right? If you do not understand this person is going through a lot. Like for instance, I will use myself as an example, and I believe around 2022 period, I lost my dad, and it was that was one of the hardest periods of my life. End of 2022/2023, that was one of the most difficult moments of my life, right? And I will remember then I was falling into anxiety, falling into depression. Sometimes I would have suicidal thoughts. I would never talk about it to anybody before, but they will come because you're dealing with grief here, and it's a very, very heavy emotion to feel, right? And there were times where at that moment when I'm at my lowest, your call would come in or your message would come in. You'd be like, hey, I haven't heard from you in a while. I hope you're fine. I hope you're doing okay. And it will remind me, wow, like it will pull me back from that depth I was falling into, right? Yeah. And so I think that is the essence of friendship, irrespective of the distance, because even at that time you were still in Lagos, and I believe you were also going through your own issues or whatever life was throwing at you as well.
the fact that we were able to make out that time for each other and, just do it like this, or try to encourage me to pull myself out of that hole. It really was a very good thing. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. This person thinking of me.
So anyway, I want to ask you two questions. First one is, if you had to name one person you owe your current happiness to, someone we haven't mentioned yet, who would that person be and why?
Someone I owe my current happiness to.
And we've not mentioned that person.
We don't mention the person yet.
Bow. Before you call love of my life. Before you
Because that's who I was going to mention. Right?
Okay, no problem, because I'm a romantic person. Why is it pressure?
I think it's difficult. It's difficult to. I don't know really, but maybe I can just say my parents. Right?
That's it.
They've done a lot of work. Since you said not to mention, my husband. Right?
No, you can. I said you can. Oh, please. I'm not anti-romantic. Please. Oh my God. Go ahead.
I can. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, he's like I said, he's just an absolutely amazing partner and somebody who prioritizes my happiness and goes out of his way to, make me happy.
Yeah.
Just yesterday was Valentine's Day. And I got like I got a huge surprise. I got a huge surprise.
I didn't want and we gisted about love and I did not ask you. Oh my God. See content.
I got a huge surprise. So okay. So I was really busy yesterday. I left my room in the morning, went to the kitchen. I was just trying to make breakfast and make some other food to stock up. And then before I came back into the room, it was afternoon. It was like almost 3:00, and we had this thing that we had to go for by 5 p.m. ish.
Yeah.
And I came back into the room, and on top of my dresser, on the dressing table, there's a cake.
Sensational man.
There's a cake, and I'm so happy, and I'm like, oh my God, how did you pull this off? And he's just smiling sheepishly.
Yeah.
And then, there's also the fact that beside my work table, he had kept a box of gifts for me.
But that's so sweet. Intentional men, this is what we are praying for, because let him continue to be intentional like this with you.
But I did not see that yesterday because I told you I had a lot to do, and when I came back into the room after cooking, I just slept for like a few minutes so that I would wake up eventually, get ready for our event, and came back really late. So this morning, I came down from the bed and I looked beside my work table. I'm like, okay, what's this box here? And I opened it, and there's a box of goodies. It's a box of goodies, right? So it's one. I'm like, okay, I didn't know you could use romantic.
That's so sweet. That's really, really sweet, honestly.
But yeah. So it made me so happy, right? It made me so happy. Okay. Yeah, that's.
Okay. So I wanted to ask, right? What 3 words, right? Can you say, like, as a person that you've accomplished this much in your life, right? You've been able to build a very successful career for yourself. You've been able to start up your passions, and you're married to someone that really loves and respects you, which I'm so grateful for. I'm so happy for that you're in a happy place. So what I want you to, say 3 words to somebody that you feel like might be in UNIZIK right now and is aspiring to be like you. What are 3 words you would most likely say to somebody like that?
Okay, 3 words. I'm stuck between 2 options, but I think I should go for the second one. And I think it's never stop learning. All right, that's the word. That's the 3 words, because I think it's very essential. There have been times where people have asked me what I think the most important skill for somebody to have is, like the most important life skill. Yeah, what I think it is. And I say that the number of times when I say it's lifelong learning, because I mean, look at us. We studied botany in school, and we're out here doing almost nothing that has to do with me, right? So you have to have a poise where you are always learning, you are always growing, you're always improving yourself, you're always curious about what's next. That is we're in the world of AI. There's a lot of technological advancements, and you need to always learn. You need to unlearn. You need to relearn. You need to always position yourself, in a way whereby you stand out. You're always, what's the word now? You're always thirsty to learn something new. You're always thirsty to improve yourself. So that's what I'm going to say. And always, and you said, you had mentioned something about wanting to be like me. I'd say do even better, right? Be the best version of yourself. Yeah. Right. That's just it. So just keep learning, keep growing. There's so many skills in this world that you can learn if you're curious enough. Yeah. There's communication, being able to communicate excellently. Yeah. There's critical thinking. There's so many skills in this world that will make you stand out, that will give you a place in rooms that hold good opportunities. So when you have a mindset of, when you're poised to always continue developing yourself and always continue learning, I mean, the world is your oyster. Is that how they say it, right? You can achieve much more than your mind can actually even fathom. Yeah. So that's from me. Okay. So I also would like to talk about, now that you mentioned keep learning, right? I also would like to, I mentioned earlier when we started the conversation about how you introduced me to design, right? And how I was able to go into it. I did it for what would normally take 6 months. And I think I've never really told you about this, but like it took me almost a year to finish. And I think you are aware. Yeah. And it was around the same time I was battling with so many things during my dad's loss, right? So it really complicated the learning process for me, right? Because I was literally battling demons at the same time I was battling, trying to be consistent with the course I was doing, right? And it wasn't really a very easy curve for me, because when you finish, of course you have to improve yourself, like you talked about. You have to keep at it, you have to but also I also think, to add to your point, I also think that someone should be able to look at life from a very, like you said at the beginning, I'm a very audacious person. And I think that don't be afraid to try other things, right? You can also have knowledge, like you can have a knowledge, but try other stuff as well. Be free, have the freedom to explore life, right? Have the freedom to be able to say, oh, this is a wonderful path, right? But it might not really be my path, and I'm irrespective of the fact that I am happy that XYZ has been on this path, and I have tried it, and I have tried to assimilate to this path, but maybe it's not really my path. So I feel like sometimes what I would tell, because we're talking about 3 words that we could tell people, like our younger selves, or people that are young, like or that were as young as we were in school. What I would tell someone like that is, don't be afraid to be free and try other stuff, right? If A doesn't work for you, try something else, right? Like you said, we are not doing what we studied in school. Yeah. We studied botany, and currently I work in hospitality. Currently you're in the design field, and you're also into NGOs and humanitarian work, right?
So don't be afraid to try. Don't be afraid to open yourself up, right? Because if you don't, you will lose a lot of opportunities. And I think that I have learned that. This is my 5th year working in hospitality. I have learned that in hospitality, because so many people come in here, right? And when you see them, they tell you this thing. They tell you, oh, when I was your age, I would also work jobs like this. I was a waiter, I was a waitress, I was, in the front office. People would say stuff to me, it would get to my head. But look at me today. I chose some. I just woke up one morning and I'm like, you know what? I want to do something else, and I worked on it, and it became something good for me. So consistency is another word I want to use. When you choose that different path you really want to go to, just like you, and that's why I applaud you. And that's why when you talk about you not being like the best, I'm like, what is she talking about? Because I know the consistency, I know the energy you put into consistency to get to the point you are in, right? So for me, consistency is also a very deep thing, but you cannot be totally consistent if you do not like the path you're going through. That's another thing, right? So I think that's the advice I would give a young person at this age. Yeah,
I totally agree with you about learning, right? When you're young, you have the liberty to learn as much as you can, right? Be very inquisitive, acquire as much knowledge as possible. You don't even know, honestly, even the fact that you may not get to use a skill. There's that fact, and there's also the fact that you don't even know how that skill will benefit you in the future. For example, now you're designing certain things for your brand off of the knowledge you got, when you were learning Figma.
Yeah,
Much honestly
would apply. Yeah, I remember I was talking about this with you some days ago, and I said I didn't even know this would apply. I didn't even know it would apply.
So it's actually true, right? It's actually good, because I know that I used to design on Canva a lot, and I used to write as well, right? I used to write a lot before I got into the university.
Yeah.
And then when it became difficult, I just stopped and focused on reading my books.
Yeah.
But eventually, outside when I graduated, one of the jobs I did when I talked about hustling was I did a job of a content creator, like mostly writing social media content, designing the graphics,
Yeah.
and for the brand, and I did okay with that. And even after my contract had expired, years later, or was it a few months later, the owner of the company was asking, oh, who is this person that used to do this thing for us? Can we get them back on board?
Yeah.
I didn't have experience doing that before then, but I gave it my all. I did a lot of research,
Yeah.
I built my artistic eye, right, to design the graphics for the brand. And eventually, after I had left, they reached out to say, oh, could you come back on board to work with us on this? And I'm like, I can't at the moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But like, you don't know what skill you've learned that you'll be able to apply to somewhere else in your future.
Yeah.
All the knowledge you're amassing at this point in our lives eventually gets to play a role, or not, right? Or not.
That is true.
Yeah, eventually gets to play a role, right?
That is true. That is so true. Yes, that is true. And that's why I think that whenever you see any skill, just grab it, right? Because I think that sometimes, like, I attend a lot of events here in Abuja. And I started doing that a lot last year, right? And so I think that it wasn't until I started attending this really high profile event that I understood why I had gotten these skills in hospitality. I was like, oh my God, like the level of interaction, because you meet people you normally meet here where I work, right? Those kind of like high level, high profile people. And then you meet those same people in these events you go to, and you're just like, wait, it's the same thing, it's normal. Like the way I interact with them, like, it just gives you a base, it gives you structure, it gives you a foundation to basically. So I think that no matter what you do, like I was talking about with Oge in the first episode you recorded, I was talking to her and I said, like, you remember she used to sew, right? She has knowledge.
Yeah.
And she was like that if somewhere down the line things don't really work out for her presently in her current, she could pick up sewing again because she has the skill. I was like, yeah. Wow, I didn't even remember you used to you used to sew at some point. Oh yes, it is true. So the skills you acquire along the way in life, it matters, right? Because you could use it at some other life, right? So it's so essential. It's a very, very essential thing. Yeah.
Okay, so I know you're the one asking the questions, but let me ask you one question.
Please do.
What skill? Yeah, this is not putting you on the hot seat. So, out of all the skills that you think exist in the world, what? Let me now put it to soft skill. What soft skill do you think is the most important that a person should have, and why do you think it is?
God, that's a very hard one. Limiting it to just one, a soft skill. God.
Okay.
That's a really, really hard one. I think communication. I think, in my opinion, communication is the most essential,
Yeah.
because I think you can have all the skills. You can have a skill in project management. Look at it, project management, product design, software development. If you don't know how to communicate, you're zero, essentially, because you don't even know how to talk with your clients. You don't know how to package yourself, right? Basically. So if that is not a major factor in your life, then to me it's like it's basically nothing. And I think that I will go for that because I know you might look at me as an audacious person, but I was incredibly introverted. Oh my goodness. I used to be incredibly introverted. I never went out. I just had a very triangular lifestyle. I was like school, church, full stop. And I never really did any extracurricular activity. And so for me, I think one of the things I have noticed, or that I'm entirely grateful for as a person, is my growth to be able to communicate, to be social, to be vocal about things, about issues I'm passionate about, or about things that I want, right? I'm not, if I see something, I say it, right? Even though now that I think about it, when you said, oh, I was this kind of person that would just, I was like, oh, okay, so I was a baddie when I was in school and I didn't know.
So yes, I think communication is actually a very, very, very critical skill for one to have. Because you can know a lot of things. You can be the baddest software developer that exists in the world, but if you're not able to sell yourself, if you're not able to communicate your value, even the people who are supposed to hire you and work with you will not hire you and work with you.
That is the truth. That is the truth. And not just any type of communication, because I think when people, there's written communication and then there's verbal communication, right? Some people are so good at written communication, but then they fail woefully at verbal communication. And I think you have to balance the two, right? And I think that is what this working in hospitality has done for me. It has made me very vocal, right? In a very respectful, diplomatic, and polite way, I should add, right? Even to the point that it gets too polite. It gets too polite, right? And sometimes I have people that are wondering, are you quietly insulting me, or are you you know, you're just too diplomatic? But I think it's the skill, right, that I think everybody should acquire, right?
Actually, I agree. And talking about something that should be taught in schools, I don't know if our curriculum, as it is, does justice to the robust set of skills that the students should have before they are exposed to the real world.
Yeah.
I don't think it does, but yeah, so that's why you have to be very intentional about acquiring these skills.
I actually think it's something that should be encouraged in schools. It should be taught in schools, because sometimes a lot of people are very naive to think that, oh, without communication I can still survive because I have XYZ in my degree, so I can survive out there. But it's not necessarily the case. So yeah, so that's it. Now that we talk about essential skills to apply in school, I actually think they should do something like critical and analytical thinking, because I think it's so important, because people don't know how to think. Jesus, like, they don't know. You meet people and you're like, this is a very basic thing to understand, right? Because I think another reason why I kind of flow with a certain group of friends, like with you, with Oge, with Patience, is because you guys have a very like very nice, analytical and critical think like mind, right? So you're able to think for yourselves, irrespective of what is going on. You're able to dissect it, right? But then you meet other people outside, and you're like, who gave birth to you? You know what I mean? Like,
Doesn't understand like this thing that goes on the Nigerian Twitter. Somebody puts up a tweet and says, "Oh, I love yam," and then you see several comments under that tweet, and one person is saying, "Oh, you love yam. Don't you like plantain?" Another person is saying, "What do you mean by you love yam? Is it that rice is not carbohydrate?" And you're like, "Well, okay, I don't understand how this thing relates, right?" But yeah, so I think critical thinking is actually a very important skill.
please. Yeah.
The ability to, ruminate, like to take a thought in your head, to dissect it, to understand the merits and the demerits of it.
Yeah.
Especially in today's world where there's a lot of agenda being pushed.
You can't remove fact from propaganda.
There's a lot of ideologies being pushed, and if you're not somebody who thinks critically, if you're not somebody who questions the stand they have on things, you just follow the bandwagon most of the times, and that's really not cool.
That is the truth. That is the truth. Yeah. That is the truth. That's the truth. Let's just hope that we band together as friends who have our critical minds, because what is out there is the ghetto. Oh my God. Like, no. This, it's like you're talking with zombies sometimes. It's really crazy. So yeah, that is the reality.
Okay, I was just gonna ask one last question. What was the experience in school like for you?
Oh God. It was so hard. It was so hard, to be very honest. I didn't. I think that what made it harder was because, will I say, I was a little bit of like a welfare child in school in a way.
Yeah.
I would not have admitted this when we were in school, but now I feel like I have gotten to a point in my life where I want to be able to talk about these things without feeling any fear or and I think that for me it was hard, right? Because and that is where the little things come in that you did in school, because sometimes I would be like, oh, I don't really have money for this, and then you just be like, oh, here, you can have this, you do what you're supposed to do with this, and later I'll be like, oh, don't worry, I will pay you back when I have the money. I remember all of that, right? So for me it was a little bit hard, and also there was a lot of pressure, which I will talk about. I don't know if you're willing to join me on that episode, the first Bonds Burden. I would like you to join me if you have time.
Okay, so
Oh, beautiful. It's a date then. Okay. So, I there was a lot of pressure on me as the firstborn, right? You cannot afford to fail. You can't afford to be less of yourself. You can't afford to make mistakes, right? So it was very pressure filled, but I am happy it went the way it did, right? And that was why whenever I remember in 200 level, I failed the course, right? Or 2 courses. Was it 2 courses? I think. And I had to rewrite it. I cried my eyeballs out. I wasn't crying because I knew I would pass it, which I did in the next year. But I cried because of the pressure from home, right? Like, why would you feel this? You know where you're coming from. You know where you're. So it was a lot for me as a person, right? So I think, yeah, it was pressure filled, but I think it was also fun because I got to also meet people that helped to soften my life in school for me. So yeah. So I think that is the answer to the question. People like you. So
okay, well, thank you for that response. I don't think I knew that. I don't think you even talked about that a lot in school, like you had said. And even the failing of the courses, right now I'm trying to see, do I remember that? I don't know that I did.
I did. I think that was zoology. I did 200 left. Yes, I did. Oh,
Those courses where we had to cram lots of names.
it was so difficult. It wasn't like a difficult, but I don't know. I think
I was probably distracted around that period because I remember my roommate at the time. If you remember her, I think you remember her. My roommate in 200 level had put to bed around that period, so I was running around.
Yeah. Remember the one in linguistics? I remember.
So yes. So when the result came, I was like, oh my god, why didn't I focus? Because I was running between the hospital and her husband at the time was not in Oka, so I was running between our hostel to give her food and the hospital. So it was a lot. So, but yeah, I think everything kind of works out for good. At the end of the day, I still passed it when I rewrote it. So yeah, I think that, that's let me just use it that it was a sacrifice of some sort for the benefit of her child. So I'm happy with that. Yeah. So any other questions you want to ask?
That's nice. Yeah. Oh, no questions. No more questions. Okay. Thank you for having me. It's been fun. Right. It's really been fun, and I'm available anytime, right, to join you.
All right. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode, and I would love to have you on the other one for the first but I know we will gist a lot on that one because that is such a complex and like really strong topic to discuss, right? So I'll really be happy to have you back. Thank you so much, and enjoy your Valentine goodies. Success is a loan, not a gift. We owe it back to the friends who shared their fluid, the family who gave us a chance, and the strangers at bus stops who gave us a new perspective. Today, call that person you owe a thank you to. Tell them you remember the little things they did. I'm Kosi Okechukwu, and as always, this is All the Little Things. Join us next time on my next episode. Thank you.